by law and adherence to the Commonwealth policies, we do not consent to any recording or transcription of this meeting, including artificial intelligence recordings, notes, and including any third-party applications. And the reason we are recording this is this will be posted at our YouTube site, and you'll be able to refer to it in coming months as you have questions. All right. So first and foremost, we have the fully executed email that you received last week to kind of review the contents of what is in that email. First and foremost, we have the attestation. And that, along with the audited financial statement and IRS Form 990, excuse me, need to be returned to the Grant Services Division within 14 days. So I am going to take a moment and click the link here just for you to see what the attestation looks like as it loads over here. So you will complete the first line here. And then read through what is the expectation, your name, title, date, grant name, and contract number. And again, this will need to be returned to the RA-LI-BWDA-GS@pa.gov. And then for those of you that need to submit a Form 990, we need a copy of that to be submitted, or we need a letter stating that you are not required to submit 990 to the IRS. So those are of utmost importance in the first two parts of the content for your email. Now, those of you that are a local workforce board, this you do not have to worry about. This is only for non-locals. So please disregard those aspects of it. Your agreements are a little different with the state than our non-locals. Next, we have the fully executed signed grant agreement, your notice of obligation, or what we'll refer to as NOO, terms and conditions, the quarterly narrative report template, quarterly performance report template. If you intend to expand an existing pre-apprenticeship pre-apprenticeship program, there's information regarding enrollment as far as the guide and then any monthly updates. And then the CWDS intake for apprentices for an existing registered apprenticeship. And both of these items, if you are in the works of building a pre-apprenticeship or an apprenticeship, you will not need to worry about the enrollment aspect until you have approval from the apprenticeship and training office. You will also find the grant financial report package and then the closeout package as well. So we crammed a lot of information into one email, and today we're going to go ahead and just take a look at many parts of it, but we're also going to schedule a follow-up meeting to discuss the invoicing. All right, so key items to note. We need you to adhere to the requirements outlined in your fully executed grant agreement. And now that you have the notice of obligation, spending and invoicing for reimbursements may begin within the dates listed on the NOO. And that would be December 1st. You can go back to and forward to through June 30th of 2026. And this is permission to spend funds in alignment with your budget for reimbursement. And we also want you to note that if you go back and you don't have anything in December, we would then ask that you submit a zero balance invoice for any expenses or reimbursements. And of course, maintain contact with the ATO. Please ask questions. We have multiple resource accounts to email as well as my own email account to reach out to for questions. All right, just to review a few items with regards to registered apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship. We have 5 key components that make up a registered apprenticeship. So a paid job, on-the-job training, related technical instruction, mentorship, and credentials. With registered pre-apprenticeship programs, the 5 key components that lay the foundation for future apprentices by preparing qualified candidates with academic knowledge and skills training that's tailored to specific jobs and industries. And each pre-apprenticeship program establishes a connection to at least one existing registered apprenticeship program. It offers approved training and curriculum, delivers hands-on learning through a variety of unique program designs and approaches, offers the opportunity to earn an industry-recognized credential and access to support services and career counseling. So apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs funded by this grant must be registered with the Commonwealth. Awardees will have until 1 year from contract start date to finalize their registration or show progress towards the finalization of registration. And the ATO will define making progress towards registration on a case-by-case basis. Grantees are expected to initiate contact with and continue to meet with representatives of the ATO at the state apprenticeship agency and to establish, develop, or expand the apprenticeship associated with the grant. And grantees who do not make adequate progress towards their registration may have funds deobligated. And if you intend to expand a registered apprenticeship or pre-apprenticeship, the grantee is required to ensure registered program sponsors remain compliant with all U.S. and PA laws, policies, regulations, and standards of registered apprenticeship, as well as their own outlined and approved program standards. And the first step is to attend an apprenticeship program orientation. The link to the form in order to request attendance or get into the orientation, I can share that in the chat before we end our program today. So taking a look at who we have for our apprenticeship field staff division, we have several that work on special projects and then those that cover areas. They will be valuable in understanding the guidelines and regulations. They're led by Supervisor Christy DeWitt and consisting of, as you see, Southeastern, Western, Central, and Northern ATRs. And then we have 3 special project ATRs that work on varying programs that are being sector specific in registration. So if you're uncertain who your ATR is, please jot me a note in the chat, and once we wrap up, we'll make sure we get you connected to your ATR. Also very important to our program is the pre-apprenticeship division. And this division will assist awardees to understand the process to register a new pre-apprenticeship or expand one. And they will be valuable in understanding the guidelines and regulations. They are led by Supervisor Danielle Demirovic. And you can see we have 2 pre-apprenticeship and training representatives in the division, Chelsea and Brian. They cover varying parts. We can't necessarily say the state is cut in half, but we can definitely support you in understanding who your rep is if you have questions. All right, so we also have an abundance of guides and resources for employers, training providers, and sponsors at our PA CareerLink registered apprenticeship site. You can see that there's details regarding regulations, standard practices, starting a registered apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship. And again, I can share this link in the chat towards the end of our presentation. All right, the next few slides will review the terms and conditions attachment that you received. Your terms and conditions are the guide to ensure you meet the expectations of the grant outcomes and support the prompt payment for invoices. As awardees of a grant, you're required to provide quarterly reports detailing project progress and performance, and your terms and conditions will outline a time frame for that. So the chart on the right-hand side of the screen is pulled directly from your terms and conditions. Again, we got started very late, so obviously you're not going to have a report due until July 31st, 2025. This was built out during the time frame when we had hoped that we would announce the awards in October and have your grant agreements ready in November. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Q&R, which is capturing the narrative aspect of employer engagements, grant activities of any sort, or educational training. So I'm going to click on the link. Pull this over for you to see. All right, so with this Q&R, we like to call it, we'll ask you to put your name, the program name that you're working on, and of course the quarter. And for your first one, it'll be the third quarter of 2025 and your contract number. And then indicate if you have an apprenticeship program and a Rapids program ID and the occupation for that program in here. Or if you have a pre-apprenticeship, there's an opportunity to click in here to type in pre-apprenticeship and put your title program in there. We'll again ask for a summary of your grant activity for the quarter, employer business engagements, educational partners, any updates for mentorship training of journey workers as it relates to a registered apprenticeship, and again, success towards your grant, goals, outcomes, objectives, any challenges, barriers that may be ongoing, and anything that we can help to address or with technical assistance. So we do ask that when you submit the Q&R and QPR that you follow a naming standard for the reports. And I have an example here for the subject line that you would put the grant initiative name, the period of reporting, month and year, your grantee name, and the contract number. So an example would be increasing DEI in the building construction trades, round 2. Obviously, we've abbreviated some of that. April to June 2025, XYZ company, and then your grant number would be there. And then you would actually name the Q&R, increasing DEI, BCT, round 2, the date and year, and then your company and grant name. I'm sorry, grant number. All right, so we would also ask that of your QPR. And the QPR, I'm going to open for you to take a look at, was included in your fully executed email. All right, so you're going to notice that this has 9 tabs, and for the most part, grantees will only need to complete 6 of those tabs because, again, most of you are only focusing on one program to build. So we can, once you've reported, help reduce some of the number of tabs that are on here in the near future. All right, so the first tab is your grantee name and contract number. And if you are focusing on apprentices, the apprentice information and pre-apprentice information tab look very much the same, except it's for apprentices versus pre-apprentices. I'm going to click back here. Each of the headers that we have in gold also have tooltips for you to click and view what we're looking for in this given category. So as you can see, this report includes all the quarters with the performance period of the grant. And in terms of information being tracked, we're looking for new apprentices enrolled per registered program in the month they are initially served with grant funds. Rows 4 through 8 are looking for anybody that you have enrolled based on your registered program name. Rows 10 through 14 would be a subset of 4 through 8 that are specific to the underrepresented populations that you have reached and enrolled. And if you are uncertain on what the definition of that population is, we ask you to refer to the NGA under Grant Opportunity Goals. And if you don't have the NGA available any longer, please let me know. I can email that out to you. Then you'll see in row 15, we are looking for the number of apprentices that remain active from month to month. So this will be obviously a fluid number that you will put in given the month, and then a total at the quarter that's based on how many did you have for the quarter that were active. You'll see that there are no formulas in this given area because again, we understand that you're going to have numbers that vary. So you will have to input all of the numbers across rows 16 to 21 if you have multiple programs. If you only have one program, you only have to worry about row 16 and across. Row 21 is related to those that have completed. And then 28 is looking for those completers that are from the underrepresented population. Now, when you enroll an apprentice in, let's say you enroll someone for June of 2025 and that there is 5 new apprentices enrolled. The month that they are served with the grant funds could also very well be June. You may very well be paying for them to attend related technical instruction of some sort. So at that point, they would also be considered active in row number 10. Oh, I'm sorry, row number 15. 16. 10 is going to be your subset of underrepresented population. 16 will be those that continue to remain active throughout the month. All right, so as you enroll them and they are new, we would expect that you will click over to the apprentice demographics new. And if they are new in the month of June, then you would break down the gender, age, disability status, veteran status, etc., based on the number enrolled. So if you enrolled all males, obviously that whole number would be placed in June of 2025. So we expect however many new apprentices or pre-apprentices are enrolled, our demographic numbers should match that same. Only when an apprentice or a pre-apprentice has completed will you then come to the apprentice demo completed and insert the month that they completed the program and the number based on gender, age, disability, and status. So again, pre-apprentice, those are the same. I'm not going to go back into each of those. They should be duplicate of the apprentice info. When it comes to the program information that we're looking for, we would like you to report each month of the quarter if you have outcomes in developing a new individual registered apprenticeship. You will be looking at row 3 or 4 and 5 if it's a new employer that's affiliated to a group sponsor. And based again on whether you selected to have an individual or group model apprenticeship will decide which of those you answer. And if you're developing a new pre-apprenticeship program, row 6, which is number 3, at the time that you receive approval from the pre-apprenticeship division, that is when you would know, yes, we developed one new pre-apprenticeship program. If your outcomes are specific to an existing program and expanding it, then you'll look at rows 7, 8, and 9, and you will note in the given month when you have expanded by intake of apprentices or employers that you've supported apprentices through grant funds. And then row 10 is if you are expanding an existing pre-apprenticeship program. The last tab, this will auto-populate for the program information summary. You will see as you enroll or input numbers in the previous tabs, there are formulas to support the number of apprentices or pre-apprentices enrolled from an underrepresented population, number that have completed, and then we're also calculating the matriculation percentage of pre-apprentice completers that go into a registered apprenticeship. The very top part will give you an opportunity to input the funds that are specific to disbursement for RTI, OJT, and support services of apprentices. And then the pre-apprentices, anything that you would be covering for work experience, RTI, or support services. So in the month, if you're supporting 5 apprentices and each of them needed $100 for travel, or could be clothing. So you put $500 in that month that you supported that, and it'll help calculate how much you're spending in support services. Any questions on the QPR? We recognize this is thorough and we're asking for a lot, but it's vital information for the ATO and LNI to get an understanding of your project's progress and how the grant dollars are being put to use. We're often asked to show outcomes, and this is one of the ways to support us in having that information on hand. And as you prepare to fill one of these out, if you run into a problem, I am available to help answer any questions and go through the QPR with you. Just reach out to me and we will set up a meeting. The naming standard remains the same for the QPR as previously discussed with the QNR, and the file needs to be saved as QPR, increasing DEI BCT, round 2, the time frame that you're submitting it for, your company name, and then your grant number. So records are monthly for enrollment and capture quantitative demographic data. And again, if you have questions when it comes to this, please reach out. I am here to help get through the tabs and the calculations that are there. All right, so additionally, the terms and conditions outline grant requirements and reminders on whether we would need success story information from you, and we would provide a format for that. Grantees are required to ensure that the sponsors of the registered apprenticeship programs, whether they are grant funded or not, will enter required data for participants into the Registered Apprenticeship Partners Information Data System, also known as RAPIDS, and any alternative tracking system. And that alternative tracking system for our apprentices is called the Commonwealth Workforce Development System, or CWDS, as we like to refer to it. We do have a specific intake form for that. And then for pre-apprentices, we use a SurveyMonkey link for enrollments. And again, additional details will follow once you have registered your program, if you are building one, or once you have provided grant services to an apprentice or pre-apprentice on how to ensure enrollment. We will set up monthly calls for grantees to participate in through Teams, and we are looking forward to setting those up shortly after this meeting. All right, some additional terms and conditions are grantees that might be selected to participate in a state grant performance review will be notified. Grantees must submit budget modification, narrative updates, and grant extension requests as necessary. We will participate in any required training events that should coordinate visits with the ATO upon request. Grantees must follow the closeout submission process, which we will cover later during this call. And over the next several slides, I will reference the CWDS intake, and those instructions can be found in the fully executed email as well. All right, so invoicing. We're briefly going to touch on the grant financial report package today, but I will set up a meeting specific to this grant and our fiscal division to go over how to use the Excel spreadsheet that we call GFRP, convert what needs to be to a PDF, the documentation that goes along with it, and then uploading that information into CWDS to receive reimbursement. But first and foremost, we'll just take a quick look at some of the very minimal expectations Again, we expect our grantees to use CWDS. We ask that by the 5th of each month, you submit your invoices for reimbursement or at least submit a zero balance invoice. There are instructions for support of your monthly invoicing in the GFRP. If you have questions, there is a resource account for our non-locals, RA-LIBWDA-non-local@pa.gov. And again, I will be setting up a meeting after today's kickoff to go over that specifically. Now, our local workforce boards, they draw down their funds a little differently, so everything should remain the same for our locals. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. All right, CWDS intake. Again, this was included for those of you that have apprentices or intend to expand an apprenticeship. So bear with me, I'll click through these, and if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out. We will obviously set up a time to go over some of this as we need to. So CWDS is used for registered apprenticeships to enroll apprentices supported by grant funds. And again, once you have received approval for a new registered apprenticeship from the Pennsylvania Apprenticeship and Training Council, that information will get added from our office into CWDS. And that is the opportunity then for the ATO to provide the apprenticeship program sponsors point of contact for that. So although some of you may be the grantee, and the actual sponsor of the program may be outside of your office or your program area, you will still need to work with them to ensure that they are submitting apprentices into CWDS as the sponsor of the program. First-time users will need to navigate to the CWDS homepage and click register. So we've got a copy of what that looks like on the right-hand side of the screen. And all intakes must be submitted into CWDS within 45 days of the first grant-funded service provided. So if there's support services covered, RTI, or OJT for an apprentice, within 45 days, this needs to be submitted into CWDS. So again, within our intake form, the next few screens are directly taken from that publication. You will see that after you click register, the user information screen will appear, and you want to select provider of services and continue. The next screen will show the business folder. Locate your business folder via the search results, select your assigned business folder and click join. And then the next screen is the provider contact list. Locate your name and click associate for that. At that point, an access code screen appears, and you can reach out to the ATO at apprenticeship@pa.gov to receive your CWDS temporary access code. And if you need to update the Rapids contact information, please indicate that in this email. And the subject line for the email should be access code and Rapids new contact. Once the temporary access code has been received, navigate to CWDS, log in. You should receive that message that your already existing profile is there and prompt you to enter the temporary access code. And then after you select continue, the edit profile contact detail screen will appear. Review the information entered by the ATO staff. Update any incorrect or missing information and select save and continue. The login details will appear to create a new password and 3 hint questions, and you can save that information. Once saved, the registration confirmation screen appears. Record that Keystone ID. That's what you will use to enter into the system, and you will click to go to the home page. And at that point, you'll be able to submit for go to intake of apprentices, and you'll want to do that through viewing the dashboard, the PA Career Link dashboard. Once you get into that dashboard link, there are several widgets in which you can add the apprentices and additional information to confirm what you have for your program area. And again, we will go over this in more detail as you are prepared to enroll apprentices. But I wanted to give you an idea of how the system looks as you get into it. All right, for the pre-apprenticeship division, we use SurveyMonkey to track the enrollment. So each month, usually the last full week of the month into the 5th of the next month, the link will open for you to input the sponsor's FEIN and the sponsor's name, as well as the program name and whether you have enrollments or not. Again, details on how to do this have been included in your fully executed grant email. There's also, once you enroll apprentices, the opportunity to use the monthly update link to record any additional support services or completion of the pre-apprentices. And again, if you have any questions, the pre-apprenticeship division has an email resource account at pre-ra@pa.gov. All right, so let's say you wrote this grant somewhere in the neighborhood of September, and you're preparing to get started. You work through until June, and there's an opportunity, or you see something needs to be realigned. Well, we'll ask that you submit for a grant change request. And any changes that occur to the budget, project narrative, timeline, or goals and outcomes will require a request for modification cover letter. The form on the right side of the screen is that request modification cover letter. And to receive the template, you just need to email the ATO Grants resource account, which is atogrants@pa.gov. And use the subject line of your grant initiative. So DEI, Building Construction Trades Round 2, or VCT Round 2. And the purpose of your email. And what that would be: a budget modification, project narrative change, timeline, goals and outcomes, and then also add your contract number. Send the completed request over to, again, the resource account, and details on the process for the budget, change, narrative, timeline, or goals will further be detailed to you in a follow-up email after that. All right, that brings us to the last attachment as far as in your fully executed email, the grant closeout process. So closeout of the grant is due within 60 days of the expiration of the grant end date, or after all funds have been fully expended, whichever occurs first. Again, there will be a final financial status report, or FSR, submitted along with the FSR details. And you can see that you'll print, this is the last FSR, and all of these details are in CWDS, as well as the packet that was provided to you. You will need to go through and note recipient's release, the assignment of refunds, rebates, and credits, and close out for the grant. All right, just a reminder, the GFRP and invoicing meeting will be sent to you shortly after this meeting. Quarterly reports are due for this grant. We will not expect to see anything until July 31st for this. And please use the naming standards. First and foremost, return the attestation form and 990 or letter stating you are not required to submit that within 14 days to ra-li-bwda-gs@pa.gov. If you have any questions, I've provided a fair number of email accounts for you there, as well as my own and my phone number. I know we've covered a lot of information today. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to come off mute at this time and ask those questions or type those into the chat. All right, I see Maggie asked, is this a buildable report or do we submit a new one each quarter, and where do we send this? And would that be in regards to the quarterly progress report, the QPR, Maggie?
Yes.
Yeah, you will build off of the same one every month that you are reporting. So the one you submit, we will add to our summary document that we have. We will save a copy of it, but you will maintain that what you've sent to us. You'll just open it back up for the next month and begin recording, save it again as the next quarter when it's time to submit it over. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And does that go to the RA-LI, et cetera, email?
That would be the ATO grants at pa.gov. You could submit it over to there.
Okay.
Yep. And again, we'll have plenty of times. There will be meetings between now and then that we will review much of this before you have to submit a report.
Okay. One other quick question. So is registering as a pre-apprenticeship something we need to renew each year within this performance period, or will it just carry through?
I'm going to defer to the pre-apprenticeship division. I don't want to give you an incorrect answer on that.
Cool. Thank you.
No, Maggie, you don't have to re-register anything. They're good. We do ask that you update us with any program changes as needed, and we do have a program change request form on our website, but no, you don't have to do anything about your registration. You are good.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you,
I just sent you
Danielle.
an email too, Maggie, so.
Saw that. Looking forward to it.
Okay, turn the camera back on now that I'm not sharing a presentation. Any additional questions? Again, I know a lot of information.
I have another question.
Sure, I love it.
Okay, so we use CWDS. We use like various entry points for different government programs. And we enroll all of our participants in CareerLink on like day one, week one. Is this something we would need staff to get a new CWDS login to, or would it fall under one that we have a WIOA and we have a SNAP 50/50 CWDS program?
I'm gonna defer to Sharon on this. I believe you need a B user account, and I don't know that either of those are. So Sharon?
That is absolutely correct, Jen. You'll have to have a B user ID login, and you will also log in. I want to say it's provider. So I
Okay.
know a lot of people have registered as an employer, but for the CWDSPA Career Link invoicing that you'll be doing for this grant, you'll have to be registered as a provider.
Okay. And will we get instructions on how to do that?
Yes, that was in, it should have been in your fully executed email. If it's not, I will follow up with that. Now, again, you're working with pre-apprentices, correct?
Right. But our invoicing still goes through the CWDS.
Correct, yes. So I will make sure that you're invoicing, and we are going to have a separate invoicing meeting with you in the near future. So that should have been included on how to create an account to get a B user. And then, yes, you would only be using that B user account to invoice for reimbursement. We do not currently have the system built out to support the intake of pre-apprentices. We hope to be there in the near future, but at this point, you would not put your pre-apprentices in there. You would only submit for reimbursement.
Great.
Perfect. Great questions. Thank you, Maggie. Any additional questions? Great. Again, I know it's a lot of info all at one time. I will be sending you a meeting invite so that we are specifically looking at your GFRP and how to invoice. And then I will be setting up monthly meetings to check in with you and see how programs are going and have the opportunity to revisit many of these items that we discussed today, because I'm sure it feels like a blur. It's a lot of info all at one time. The good news is you have your NOO. You are ready to begin moving forward. If you started in December, I highly encourage you to begin pulling together your reimbursement material and submit for any expenses that you have at that time. And again, looking forward to hearing an update with your QNR and QPR by July 31st. Again, we always give you 30 days after the quarter ends to submit the next, or submit your report of what has occurred. Right. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time. Again, if you've got any questions, that's the ATO grants at pa.gov. I'll put in there. And again, I will put my email address in there for you to email. Thank you so much for your time today. I'm going to stop recording before I forget. And we will eventually have